My name is Denise. I am 58 years old. I sort mail for a living in Toledo, Ohio. On the morning of my birthday, I opened a letter from the Internal Revenue Service that said I owed $47,000 in back taxes. The letter was about a cleaning business in Florida. I have never been to Florida. I have never owned a business. I sat at my kitchen table in my postal uniform, and I did not cry. I just stared at the name of the company, and I knew exactly who had done this. I had known for a long time. I just had not let myself say it out loud. I want to tell you something first, before I tell you what I did. I am not a dramatic woman. I wear the same navy blue cardigan to work 3 days a week. I drink the same instant coffee out of the same chipped mug my mother gave me in 1994. I have sorted mail at the same post office on Cherry Street for 31 years. My coworkers call me dependable. That word used to feel like a compliment. By the time I was 50, it felt like a sentence. My sister Tammy is 4 years younger than me. She has been, in her own words, finding herself since 1998. Finding herself has involved 3 marriages, 2 bankruptcies, a stretch in a rehabilitation center in Indiana, and more boyfriends than I can name without a piece of paper. Our mother used to say Tammy had a softer heart than the world deserved. I used to nod when she said that. I do not nod anymore. Our mother died in 2007, lung cancer very fast, 11 weeks from the first cough. The night before she went, she squeezed my hand and asked me to promise her I would look after Tammy. I said yes. I would have said yes to anything that night. I think she knew that. I think a part of me has been angry about that for almost 20 years, and I only just admitted it. After Mama died, I started cleaning up messes I did not make. A water bill in Tammy's name that got switched to mine because the company said someone had called and authorized it. A credit card from a department store I had never set foot in. A $240 charge at a veterinary clinic in Cincinnati for a dog I had never met. Every time I called the company, I straightened it out, I paid what I could, and I told myself it was a mistake. Tammy would cry on the phone and say she did not know how that had happened. I wanted to believe her. Wanting to believe someone is its own kind of stupid. The first time I really suspected, it was not dramatic. I was folding laundry in the back room of the post office during my lunch break. A woman from Human Resources walked through and said, in a friendly voice, that my second job sounded interesting. I asked her what she meant. She said she had seen something about a cleaning company on a tax document that crossed her desk. I laughed and told her she must be thinking of someone else. She apologized and walked away. I went back to folding a coworker's apron. I did not eat my sandwich. I did not finish my coffee. I sorted the afternoon route in a kind of silence I had never felt before. When I got home that night, I made myself a bowl of cereal and watched a game show and did not think about it. That is what I told myself. I did not think about it. I lied to myself for 4 more years. There were other moments, small ones. A man in a gray jacket came to my front door in 2015 looking for a Denise who owned a cleaning service. I told him I was the only Denise at that address, and I worked for the United States Postal Service. He apologized and left. I closed the door and made spaghetti. My husband Ron was alive then. He asked who that was. I told him it was nothing. I told myself it was nothing. We ate spaghetti and watched a movie about a dog. I do not remember the name of the movie. I remember the spaghetti. Ron died in 2019. Heart attack in the driveway, snow shovel still in his hand. After that, the house got very quiet. Tammy called more often. She would cry and say she missed Ron even though she had only met him 11 times in 22 years. She would ask if I needed anything. I would say no. Then she would ask if she could borrow a little something just to get through the week. I would send her $200 through an app on my phone. Sometimes $300. I told myself it was what Mama would have wanted. I do not think that is true anymore. I think Mama would have wanted me to be okay. I think I forgot that I was allowed to be okay. The birthday letter came on a Tuesday in March. I had made myself pancakes that morning because I had decided 58 was old enough to do nice things for yourself. The pancakes were already cold by the time I sat down because I had stopped to feed the cat and rinse a glass. I ate them anyway. They tasted like flour and butter and nothing. Then I went out to the mailbox in my robe and my work shoes because I had not changed yet. The IRS envelope was on top. I knew before I opened it. I do not know how I knew, but I knew. $47,000. A cleaning business registered in Tampa. Income reported under my Social Security number going back to 2011. 11 years. 11 years of someone else living a second life with my name on it. I sat down at the kitchen table. The cat jumped up and walked across the letter. I did not move her. I just sat there with the cat on the paper, and I felt something very small and very cold settle inside my chest. And I knew I was not going to cry, and I knew I was not going to call her. Not that day. Not ever. I did not call Tammy. That is the part people ask me about now. They say, "You did not even call her?" No, I did not. I called a lawyer instead, a federal identity theft attorney in Cleveland who picked up on the second ring because it was 8 in the morning and she was already at her desk. I told her my name and what the letter said. She asked me one question. She asked me if I had any idea who had done it. I said yes. She said, "Then we are going to do this the right way." I liked her immediately. Over the next 6 weeks, I did things I never thought I would do. I filed Internal Revenue Service Form 14,039, which is the Identity Theft Affidavit. I filed a report with the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration. I walked into the Toledo Police Department on my lunch break, still in my postal uniform, and filed a formal report. The officer was a young man with kind eyes. He asked me if I wanted a glass of water. I said yes. I drank it slowly while he typed. Then I went to work on the proof. This is the part I am almost proud of. I pulled 11 years of my own pay stubs from a filing cabinet in my spare bedroom. I had kept every single one of them because that is the kind of woman I am. I pulled my time cards. I requested surveillance footage from my own post office because I had been clocked in at Cherry Street in Toledo, Ohio, on almost every day that a cleaning business in Tampa, Florida, was supposedly being run by me. I sat in the break room with my supervisor, and we watched grainy black and white video of myself sorting mail on dates going back to 2012. There I was, in the same navy cardigan. There I was, with slightly browner hair. There I was, alive and accounted for, 2,000 miles from a business I had never opened. My supervisor did not say much. At one point, she paused the video and looked at me and said, "Denise, I am so sorry. I told her not to be sorry. I told her I should have done this years ago." She nodded and pressed play again. We watched me sort mail in 19 different years. It was the strangest movie I have ever seen. The indictment came down in September. A grand jury in the Northern District of Ohio. Wire fraud, tax fraud, aggravated identity theft. Tammy was arrested at a motel outside Sandusky, where she had been living with a man I had never heard of. She called me from the county jail that night. I let it go to voicemail. She called 11 more times over the next 2 days. I did not pick up. I did not listen to the messages. I deleted them in a row, one after another, while I drank my instant coffee out of my chipped mug. I did not attend the arraignment. My lawyer asked me if I wanted to go. She said sometimes it helps to see them in the orange jumpsuit. I told her I had seen Tammy in every color a person can wear. I did not need to see her in one more. I went to work that day instead. I sorted the morning route. I had a tuna sandwich for lunch. I came home and watered the plant on the kitchen windowsill, the one Ron had bought me the spring before he died. It was still alive. I was a little surprised by that every time. A week after the arraignment, I drove to a drugstore and bought a plain white envelope. I went home. I opened the small wooden box on top of my dresser, the one where I keep the things I cannot throw away. Inside was a photograph of our mother from 1973, before either of us was born. She is standing in front of a green Chevrolet in a yellow dress, squinting at the sun, smiling like she has a secret. I have always loved that picture. I took it out of the box. I slid it into the envelope. I did not write a letter. I did not write a note. I did not even write Tammy's name on the front. I wrote her inmate number and the address of the county jail, and I put a stamp in the corner. I drove it to a different post office, one across town, because I did not want my coworkers to see it. I dropped it in the slot and I drove home and I made myself a piece of toast. I have thought a lot about that envelope, about what I wanted her to feel when she opened it. I do not think I wanted her to feel anything in particular. I think I wanted Mama to be in the room with her, just for a minute, without me having to be there too. I think I wanted Tammy to look at that yellow dress and understand that whatever promise I had made at a hospital bed in 2007, I had finally given back. I had carried it for 19 years. I was done. People at work ask me if I feel better now. I never know what to say. I do not feel better the way they mean. I still wear the navy cardigan. I still drink the instant coffee. The cat still walks across my mail in the morning. Sometimes I make pancakes on a Tuesday and let them get cold while I feed her. The pancakes still taste like flour and butter and nothing. That part has not changed. I am not sure it was ever going to. What changed is smaller than people think. I do not flinch when the phone rings. I do not open my mail with my shoulders up around my ears. When a man in a gray jacket comes to the door now, which has not happened in a long time, I think I would just tell him the truth. I would say, "You are looking for my sister. She is not here. She has not been here for a very long time." On my 59th birthday, I made myself pancakes again. I ate them while they were still warm this time. The cat sat on the chair across from me instead of on the table. The mail came later and there was nothing in it from the Internal Revenue Service. There was a flyer for a grocery store and a card from a woman at church I barely know. I read the card twice. I put it on the windowsill next to the plant Ron bought me. I drank my coffee out of the chipped mug. I did not think about Tammy. I did not think about Mama. I did not think about a yellow dress or a green Chevrolet or an envelope I had mailed from a post office across town. I just sat there in my kitchen, in my navy cardigan, on a quiet Tuesday morning, and for the first time in a very long time, I was not cleaning up after anyone at all.